Hey guys, welcome to this video series on how to build a solid body electric guitar from scratch. I'm down in the workshop here, and I'm gonna make an attempt to record the process of building this. I'm not much of a cameraman, so I'm gonna try to get as close as I can and edit this as best as I can to make it somewhat of an enjoyable process for you. So whether you're watching this to learn how to build one out of curiosity, or because you want to attempt one, or even just out of boredom, whatever your reasons, I hope that you enjoy this, and I'm going to try to explain this as well as I can, hopefully not missing anything. So I'm going to get started and kind of talk about the materials that we're going to use here for the build. This build we're doing is going to be after a 72 Telecaster Deluxe guitar. Some of you that may make sense, some of you that may not make any sense at all. But these are most all the materials that we're going to need for the build. There are some things that we still have to work on with the customer of what they want, as far as pickups go and different things like that. So, but for the most part, everything's pretty much here, ready to go. The guitar itself, this is the body template for the guitar. So, fashioned after a 72 Telecaster Deluxe, a Fender 72 Telecaster Deluxe. Fender has two main star guitar models that they have had for years. The very first guitar that Leo Fender made back in the, I want to say in the 50s, could have been in the 40s, was a Telecaster. It was this design of guitar. Looked a little different than what it does now, since it was his prototype. But the Telecaster is one, and the Stratocaster, which this is what a Stratocaster body looks like. That's a template for a 62 Strat. Those are the two main ones. They have lots of different other variation of designs, Jaguar guitars and Mustang guitars and all kinds of fun stuff. But this is one that we're going to be doing it after here. So we've got the specs for this guitar the way we want to do it, and we've got the templates already built. I've got the neck template up here. But as far as the wood goes, the type of wood that you use for a template, when we get to the template portions, doesn't really matter. I mean, there's some things that you want to avoid, but the wood for the guitar itself, you have to use certain woods. You can't just go get some pine 2x4s and try to make it out of that. There are certain densities and tonal qualities of woods that you need to use, or at least that's recommended to use. My first from scratch build, I actually did a Voodoo Lounge style Telecaster, and I made the neck out of oak. An African zebra wood fingerboard, and spalted maple top over a maple body with walnut strips. And so I used all kinds of woods. And you're not really encouraged to use woods like oak because of their open grain pattern, and they're very hard on your tools. But enough of the jibber jabber. I'll kind of get to the wood that we're using here. So common maple neck. That's a common wood to use for the neck itself, the body of the neck. This is a flamed curly maple. It's a very, very good section of it. This gets planed down when we get this down to thickness. So this is the neck body. Maple is a very hard wood. It's a bright sounding tone wood. Resonates very well, but the tonal quality that you get out of it is usually a brighter, more treble resonating sound. And then the fingerboard top, whenever you have a maple fingerboard over a maple neck, it's usually a solid piece. This one in particular, this was selected by the customer. You can see the grain runs lengthwise the way we want it. That's going to be good to sand. But the pattern of the curly maple on there, you can see it runs that way. So the customer wanted this, so we're going to do a two-piece. This is the fingerboard that will go on the neck. Locking tuners. all of these were hand selected by the customer here. So to the wood on the body, we have got a spalted alder body. Spalted, for those that do not know, is a reaction or a process that happens when you mold wood, or at least you expose wood to a molding atmosphere. There's a guy that's been a wood supplier for me for a lot of my builds, and he got me introduced to the process. You take wood, put it under a tarp or something like that with cheese, yogurt, milk, anything that will create mold, and you leave it out there at least in the majority of the time during the summer months where it's nice and hot. And after 8 months to a year, you start to get a molding pattern. And it takes the grain and it kind of pulls it in. You can see some of these dark spots running through the grain. The more that you actually take this down, the more you'll see it. I don't know if you can see the end grain there. This is usually what it looks like. It depends on the type of wood that you have and how long it's been sitting in that process. But it's not common to find this in alder. Alder wood that's been spalted. Spalted maple is a common one, but spalted alder, that was kind of hard to find. So we have walnut top wood, and I already went over the neck wood. We're using, as far as just real quick to go over the rest of the hardware, this is standard hardware. We've got vintage style fret wire. This is a dual action truss rod. So this truss rod is put inside the neck to keep it straight. There's a lot of pressure tension on the strings. The truss rod keeps the neck from bowing outside of your control. You can control the type of up bow or back bow that you have with the truss rod if it's an adjustable truss rod. Stuart McDonald, the guitar supplier, they make these dual action ones where you can turn it and create an up bow or a back bow. They're very, very good truss rods. They're the ones that I prefer to use in my builds. Bone nut. This is mother of pearl inlay and vintage chrome bridge here. This is a tremolo style bridge. When we get to working with this a little bit more in the build, I'll explain how the tremolo system works. All nickel hardware. This is chrome knobs. These were a little bit hard to find. He wanted ones with numbers on them, but Stratocaster style, and I found those, and he loved them. So other than that, we've got high quality capacitors and electronics for the pickups, and the pick guard is a tortoiseshell. Let me try to do this without putting the phone down. Okay, this is the pick guard. Tortoiseshell pick guard. It's going to be a dark walnut stain over a, I'm going to call it a butterscotch body on the back. If I get a chance and I'm able to, I will take pictures of what he wants this to kind of look like. There's a Stratocaster version of this that he wants to model it after. So this is the wood. Before we actually get started on everything, we have to take some of this wood down to thickness. The body and the top plates are already to thickness the way that we need them, but the fingerboard and the neck, we need to get this down to the dimensions. This has to equal 1 inch thick from top to bottom, and it can be in any variety that you want, but we're going to take the body down to 18 millimeter, and then we're going to make up the difference with the fingerboard thickness. So we need to do that on the planer over there, and then we can get started on how to measure everything out. So stay tuned.